Tell us what has tickled your fancy.
What has tickled my fancy? There's like this tree, but it's been petrified.
Are you high?
I've had coffee. Look at it, so cool. Like, come look. It's like a tree. You can tell that it's a tree, but all of this like rock is like formed on it. I love these layers. It's so interesting. I love rocks.
No mistake that this is a tree, right?
It's definitely a tree. But when you get closer, when you start like feeling it, it's actually quite interesting.
Tell us, where are we? You come here all the time.
We are near the gorge of Washington State, and the gorge is behind us. It is really cool, and it's about a couple of hours east of Seattle, and it's most famous for the amphitheater, which is also called the Gorge, and they have a lot of music festivals and concerts that happen here during normal times, which is not right now. And yeah, that's why most people come out here, is to go to the gorge to see live music, but there's actually a lot of other things around it. So this is my first time coming to the Gingko Petrified Forest, which is not that far away from the Gorge Amphitheater, but I've never been here before.
Yeah, and this is our first time seeing petrified trees. It's super cool, actually. And I will show you what a ginkgo tree looks like. And yes, it's the Ginkgo biloba. That is also a brain supplement. You can tell a ginkgo tree by these very characteristic leaves. They're like little petals, like fans.
The actual interpretive center is closed, but there's like some walkways. It doesn't look like it's a super big area, so you probably don't need a lot of time while you're here.
There's also a campground which is currently closed as well. They've barred you from entering it, but you can camp right over the hill in the canyon.
And there's a boat launch, so a lot of boats come down here to take advantage of the water.
Right down there, there's the campground, which has a sign put out to supposedly prevent you, and there's a barrier which is currently open. The rules say open for day use, as far as I can tell. But the campgrounds are nice. Look at them, they're even paved, and you have a fire pit and a bench. Well, this looks like a total rock on this side. Here you can tell this was a branch at one time, and now it feels like pure rock. Amazing.
We found dinosaurs in the desert.
Yes, and this is very important because it's the proof that the T-Rex was actually a giant chicken. And that's why its arms are so small. Look at this carefully.
Bro, look at its legs.
Exactly, small arms and giant chicken feet. It looks exactly like, doesn't this look exactly like a chicken without looking at the head? There's the head, little arms, which are actually wings, now you know, and giant chicken legs.
Now that we got that part out of the way, this is as you enter the Gingko Petrified Forest, you see these dinosaurs, and it's a Gingko gem shop, which is sadly closed because, again, I really love rocks, so I would totally go in there and buy something, but they're not open. But these dinosaurs are here, and it really reminds me of Palm Springs because there's these dinosaurs that are also near Palm Springs, so I feel like they kind of took that vibe. And this thing has been here for who knows how long, and it goes back to, you know, coming out here and going to the Gorge Amphitheater and not having any idea that this was here, and like, how did I not know this was here? I used to stay like just down the road like 7 years in a row, and I never knew this was here.
Gotta keep exploring. A giant chicken. Bark, bark, bark.
So we pulled over for a snack or a late lunch, and here's our food bag here, courtesy of Amazon Go grocery. First thing is the essential toilet paper. Never forget toilet paper when you're going to go on a road trip. And our freeze-dried meals, which last until 2050.
Dehydrated egg.
Hey, you know, first thing in the morning when you're camping, that's actually a great thing to have. Lots of jerky. So actually, the thing about these meals is that these are a relatively new invention. And before this, you really had to just subsist on your jerky and your trail mix.
I got this Chianti salami from Tuscany.
Ah.
That was my contribution.
And bagels, of course. Lots more jerky, lots more nuts. Your almond butter. And, because we can't live without coffee, our AeroPress, which you can't even see the logo anymore. We've used it so many times.
Yeah, since we're here for like 40 hours, it will not be a crisis. We can actually survive with no food on our saved little padding from the lockdown. We are at a place we haven't been called Lenore, Lake Lenore. You never see this here, by the way, the entire parking lot is full. We're quite far from Seattle, 3 hours plus, and because of the lockdown, Eastern Washington is quite packed.
Normally there'd be like maybe one other car here, but yeah, I've never seen this many people out in Eastern Washington. Oh yes, I am also testing out the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 for Sony E-mount cameras. And it should really help us shoot in this cave since we'll need some wide angle lenses to do that.
Our first wildlife. The wide angle doesn't do it justice, it's enormous. And it does smell. I don't know if it's it or the plant, but something smells hard. Some proper Eastern Washington terrain here. Very cool. Susie's trying to shoot fast because the babies are coming behind us.
I totally thought we were gonna have this place all to ourselves. And normally we would, I swear, if it weren't for a lockdown, but there are so many people here.
This is beautiful. We're on the side of a canyon here. Getting steep, but this hike is not really that much of a hike. It's more of a walk. And now we get a gorgeous vista. It's raining, which is BS because I checked the weather like 4 times and it said 1% chance of rain. I guess 1 is more than 0, still makes it possible. There's a traffic jam on the trail, so might have to go explore this wall of rocks real quick here. It is basically gravel. Now we have really interesting rock formations here. The walls of the canyon are made of basalt and it makes many different shapes and layers. Right here, like teeth. And they keep falling and falling from erosion. Wow, that was quick. Susie's down there. The traffic jam passed, so I go join. We're still trying to be distanced, even though in our state they're finding like 40-50 people a day sick out of 7.5 million is nothing. The chance you get it is 0. Living on the edge.
Living on the edge. The rocky edge.
Susie's getting wilder and wilder since we met.
It's your fault.
It is my fault.
All your fault.
I have a no paved road policy. Looks like the perfect place to sleep. Here's exactly enough space to put up your mat and even light a fire, and you'll be so sheltered. And you have this nice view right here.
Do you have someone shooting you?
Yes. Hopefully not with a gun.
This is the shot.
Yeah, people get the shot.
But you need a
super wide. Yeah, the GoPro gets it. But yes, the phone can do it with the
a super photo.
The HDR. So what made these caves was many millions of years of freezing it and thawing, and the water starts eroding the ice. When water slips into cracks and then freezes, it basically blows it up. The ice expands and it breaks off the rocks, like you see rocks everywhere. And eventually all this stuff gets carved out. The biggest cave so far. I'm modeling and vlogging in the same time. Skills. difficult. Oh, there. We just found wildlife, and this time we're properly equipped actually. So this got the Sigma zoom.
The 70 to 180, which I can, on the Sony full frame you can crop in so you can actually get a little bit closer than 180, and it was actually perfect for this setting where the animals weren't too far away, and yeah, they let us get relatively close to them.
Yeah, and I hit the Fuji up to 400, which goes to 600 with the crop, and then with the 2x converter, teleconverter, it goes to 1200. So I was able to get full shots of the, I don't know what they are, we call them carpet munchers.
You call them carpet munchers.
You've seen it first last
I call
trip.
them oversized squirrels, the ground squirrels. Here at Dry Falls, which is a place that we're revisiting of sorts, but we'll explain that after we get out of the car. How is driving this road?
It's fun, I like dirt roads. I grew up in Bulgaria, so I'm fearless. We pulled over at this very nice habitat. It's mostly flooded marshland, but it's really at the bottom of what they call a coulee, which is really kind of a canyon, but it's wider and kind of boxy, rectangular shape.
So last time we were out here, we were way up there. That's the visitor center for Dry Falls. And unfortunately it was really cold, so there really wasn't much we could do, but we scouted out this area and knew that we wanted to return here, so we did.
It actually was beautiful with everything being icy, but it was too windy.
It was very cold. Very cold. Right now it's not too bad, but we'll see what happens overnight, but it shouldn't get that cold, hopefully.
It
So
will be
we'll
50
find out.
at worst.
So we came to the edge of the road, or the end of the road, and it just leads you to like this boat launch area, so you pretty much have the only option of going into the water here, which is actually really sweet access, but for people on foot we're gonna go that way.
We're going off the deep end. Gotta watch our feet here because there's mud and rocks and critters. Try not to sink. It's not that bad.
Yeah, this side path is better.
So we climbed the big rock and now we get an overhead of everything here, which was the goal because I have my zoom so we can spy on nature like you put it in one of our last videos. And I have the monopod to hold steady for a long time. And the monopod doubles as a weapon in case you run into something shady.
I'm trailing behind to make sure that I catch anything that might fall, such as the little wind muff thing for that Road Video Micro, because for some reason that one likes to fall off a lot, and it happens a lot.
And I'm going up front in case I run into snakes and I can scare them before Susie sees them, so she won't be too scared.
That's right, don't tell me. I'd rather not know.
I've already not told her.
It's very pretty. Everything is like slightly green, so that makes it a lot more inspiring.
It's spring. We're here in spring. Apparently the best season here in Eastern Washington. Which also may be Central Washington.
Yeah, it's east for us, but technically it is central.
Don't see this type of lake almost anywhere.
Oh wow, yeah, that's the colors.
Yeah, exactly.
Are like stunning right now.
Yeah, we're here in spring, and you see the subtle color in Eastern Washington, which you normally don't see here. You see like brown and yellow, but here now we have reds, we have yellows, we have greens.
Yeah. We
have blossoms of all kinds in the desert.
But it's actually good that it's overcast because it's making for better lighting, so that not everything is blown out. So it's going to be pretty cool to shoot that. A lot of, I think these are seagulls. I don't know.
Not exactly
or,
a seagull, but some are seagulls.
Some are seagulls. I was a little surprised to see seagulls all the way out here.
We have varied environments in the state. It's the most diverse. You see, California technically has more, but they're so much more spread out and they're larger. But here we have more environments in a tighter space, and probably the most so in the USA. And it's a photographer's paradise. Here now we're about to meet a prominent Washington State photographer.
Oh, hello there.
I just found you out here.
Well, this is such a cool spot because yeah, you can get like this nice rock formation here, and if you go wide enough you can get this lake. Then if you turn around here you have yet another rock formation plus the visitor center, so it's just a really cool spot to get some wine.
Yeah, but it's really beautiful here. Is this more inspiring than being locked down or what?
If you're gonna be locked down, you might as well be in nature, right?
Let's stake our claim here and set up with the monopod and the big lens and see what we get. It's our second escape of the year after the lockdown happened. We had 2 previous escapes in the cold, and now it's warm and we're here and life is flourishing. Maybe a little too flourishing if you step off trail though.
sun came out and the birds disappeared. It's like the weirdest thing. Yeah, another thing that we just noted is the importance of having zippers on your pockets, because you do want pants and jackets and clothing with pockets to hold your small items, but they should have zippers on them because you're out, you know, in the wilderness and you don't know when you're going to be back or if anyone else is going to come out here. So the last thing you want to do is lose important items. So it's really important to make sure that they're in zippered pockets.
Without car keys, you're screwed. Like a disaster situation, you gotta get towed out of like deep nature. We had to do that already because of the deer that jumped into our car, so don't lose stuff at all, ever. Dramatic scenery here, and we're having lots of fun taking videos. We've been asking ourselves what to make of this region and how to present it, and it's like definitely like a Wild West, but with a more northern characteristic, I guess. Yeah, you're getting good shots of this mountain.
I was getting a little starburst because the sun was peeking through, so I was getting you vlogging with the sun and the mountain. This
is our first day of shooting after the lockdown, out all day like this. And not you know, we drove a lot, we found a place to sleep. We forgot to mention we found our camp.
So we're here at Dry Falls State Park, which is initially where we came several months ago in a different season, and we saw this, but it wasn't as pretty as it is right now.
Yeah, this is an amazing view, and we're here rediscovering it after we came in January, I think.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was all completely covered in ice, which was cool, but it was too cold. And now we came here to take the shot.
And we were just hiking just down there.
That's the coolest
way
part.
out
So
there.
it looks like a living painting right in front of you, and we went right through it, all in the middle, all the way to that lake in the back there. So this turns out to be a place to be famous for a reason, because the view is simply spectacular. What do you think about our discovery?
I think we're here at the right time of year because everything is like, not everything is green, but you have patches of green that really add some color. Otherwise it would just be kind of brownish yellow, so I think that pop of green is nice. And again, we're actually lucky that it's overcast because that gives us some texture, some clouds to play with that we wouldn't normally have if it wasn't overcast. We're sleeping down there. There's actually even a little golf course down here. It's so cool.
This is our lodging.
We went up to Dry Falls viewpoint, then we came down and actually started taking out our tent, and right as we did that, the wind started picking up and it got kind of scary and the rain started coming down, so we're like,
yeah, the drops of rain is what made me terminate that idea. And we got an upgrade, and we'll show you the upgrade now.
Yeah, and so, you know, if we really had to, we'd be okay with camping in that, but we had the option not to, so we chose the option not to. And yeah, we're gonna go check out the room now.
Waterfront on the lake now, which is a nice perk. Here we have a basic cabin.
It smells freshly clean, so that's
actually
good.
Pretty bleached, yeah.
Yeah. So they have a cabin, 2 beds, a fridge that I'm actually, I'm like taller than the fridge.
Yeah.
That's like the first time ever that's happened. And a little sink, stove. Yeah, bare basics, but you know what? That's good enough for tonight. And yeah, we are waterfront, which is pretty great.
It has a roof from the rain and walls from the wind, and it has a waterfront, so we're fine.
And our toilet and a shower. Sweet. Nice job.
Well, you gotta adapt with the conditions.
So we checked in kind of like around 4:30, and they said there were 2 camping spots open and 1 cabin. So luckily that cabin was still open when we came back, so we snagged a waterfront cabin.
Yeah. But yeah, let's check this out. The freaking waterfront cabin.
Adventure meals, and funny enough, these are from Oregon. They're from Albany, Oregon, so they're from the Northwest. And this thing, it's the MSR water boiler. It's only like $150. It's actually not bad for what it is.
No, please.
And it's oh, we gotta get the silverware, the bowls that
yeah.
Found them.
Yeah, it was in a very logical place with all the camping bag stuff.
Okay.
There was a bag with all your camping.
Great.
Alright, so truly they didn't give us anything because maybe it's the pandemic, but we have our own.
Yeah. They were kind of interesting. Like, we're partially prepared. Like, we have some stuff for camping, but we don't have the best necessarily. We don't have everything.
So, some stuff.
Yeah, we have some stuff. Like
and this is lightweight. We went with lightweight.
Yeah.
See, here's a plate and here's a cover.
Yeah. It's like a little bowl. Yeah, all you do is open this package, boil some water, close it, wait 5 minutes, and it's supposed to be ready. All right. Some water. And we need spark. Oh, I see. Yeah, it controls it. That's cool. Oops, we ran out of fuel.
Yeah, that was from like 10 years ago or 8 years ago when we first met.
I was honestly, yeah, I was wondering. I was like, do we have fuel? He's like, yeah, we have fuel. I was like, well, how much is left in the fuel? We didn't have a way to check. So yeah, good thing we have a cabin and a stove because we would have lost our our little camping stove there. All right, go for it. And we're gonna.
Whoa. Barely big enough, but it is.
But yeah, the key thing is to insulate it like as quickly as we can after we mix it up.
There we go. There, our meal.
It's not so bad, man. Bagels and lemon pepper steak.
Nice. It's like a risotto almost.
Nice.
Obviously, the king of camping food is dried meat forever and ever.
Yes. Dried meat and trail mix. Isn't trail mix kind of made for hiking? Like, they call it trail mix because you eat it on the trail. And it's still, you know, if you really needed to, you could get by with trail mix and beef jerky. Basically, all the food we bought that is already cooked, we could have also eaten that and been just fine.
What is nice about this method, though, is that you warm up. You get really warm.
You get a hot meal.
Yeah, and you can be out in the wilderness and it's great.
There's nothing like the first caffeine hit of the day.
Said like a true addict.
So we ordered all of this stuff, like 2 things of food and the stove, like 3 days ago. And luckily we got it in time for this trip, but a lot of the food just wasn't available. So all I could get was that steak from last night, which was really good, and 1 packet of eggs.
Here's your breakfast. And the dehydrated eggs are not terrible.
Not terrible, but they're not good either.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. Not the worst, nor the best.
Yeah, we left home without knowing at all where we end up. We got a camping spot, but it started raining. So we upgraded ourselves. And now we're at the waterfront cabin, so can't complain.
All right, so we're gonna go to the Coulee Dam. Let's get our stuff together. Here's all our stuff.
This here is the lake. And very nice cliffs in the back, so cool resort. To be honest, it has been 2 hours since the sun came out. But there was a cloud cover, so there was no point getting up for sunrise. I could have gotten up.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah, the sun is starting to hit the walls of the canyon and people are already fishing, I bet you, since sunrise. This resort is private and packed with amenities. There are 2 more there, but there's 4 ice freezers and a whole thing for firewood, which is, you can tell the priorities right there. And there's a grocery store here. Here's where we are, Sun Lakes, and this is the general area. It's really the Columbia River because right here runs the river and there's a big dam, the biggest in the Northwest. And here's kind of an offshoot where we are, where it doesn't really flow that way anymore. So it became a big lake, or a system of lakes even. And they continue here, even a bit interrupted. Moses Lake and Salt Lake. But around here runs the big Columbia River all the way around towards the ocean and Oregon. So this is 4 hours away from Seattle. So we're traveling through Washington State here, and we're actually pretty far out here, currently standing on the ground of the Colville Reservation, and they have the stats for the pandemic impact on this region. And the crazy thing is that the native reservation here has only 1 death and 14 cases ever recorded. And previously we were in these 2 counties spending the weekend. Douglas County had 120 cases and 3 deaths, and Grand County has 185 cases and 3 deaths. So between these regions we're in, there's been 300 cases and about 6 deaths. So it's really minimal impact. This is why we're choosing to travel here. We're not worried about being exposed to the pandemic.
And the resort that we were at was packed full. We were lucky to get a cabin. In fact, it was the last one available. But yeah, tons of people. They do still have the signage up, so they're more or less practicing that 6 feet of distance rule and all that. But yeah, people are still out here. They're traveling. They're just living life.
Like a beach here. The sand is legit. And there are actual dunes on that side too. One of the campground is called Dune.
Yeah, wow, this is sand.
It's super nice and fluffy.
That's cool.
Yeah, we are at Steamboat Rock State Park in Washington.
And we did not know about this place until we drove by it on our way to the Coulee Dam. So that road was incredibly scenic. It is nicer than the typical road that people take to the gorge, like way prettier. There's just more green, there's more than sagebrush, and I think spring, being here in the spring also helps. Yeah. There's just life everywhere.
And this is how we like to travel. I like to let discovery happen. I don't plan meticulously. I plan vaguely on purpose, and I leave time windows to let discovery happen. So we're here for the first time. We never heard of this place. It's fantastic.
But it's gorgeous. It has these rock formations that in some ways kind of, I mean, the closest thing I can think of is like the Southwest. It inspires me or just reminds me of that. But obviously these are different rocks and different formations altogether, but you know, that is similar. And then here we have sand even.
We're completely enjoying the experience here at the Steamboat Park. It's actually paradise with great weather and great nature. So right now we're on these sand dunes over a lake, and they're very picturesque rocks in every direction.
And the cool thing about sand dunes is that you can look down and you can see like tracks, and so you see like human footprints, but here these look like hoof prints or something. You can kind of see like where the animal went. You can kind of like make up stories in your mind about it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It makes you feel more creative. we are pausing to get gas, and gas has actually been quite cheap this trip, which has been great. It's a little bit more expensive here, but still pretty low, $2.29 per gallon.
Well, we are back in Vantage, Washington, and we closed the loop of central Washington we just did.
So the Gingko Petrified Forest is behind us down that way. So we are out just in front of it. So this is indeed where we started our trip. And I think we achieved a couple things this weekend. Number one, we got away from the city and we got back into nature, which is really good for our creativity.
Yes, and it really felt like there's no problem in the world out there. It was paradise. We went to places we had never been, and they were actually amazing. We have so much content to show you soon.
Yes, so even though we went to some familiar areas that we'd been to before, the other thing that we achieved is going somewhere new, to Othello, and for you, Moses Lake. So it was really cool to explore new places and not have to get on an airplane.
Yeah, and to me the big part of this was discovering that area north of Dry Falls, which was all the way until the dam, and there was a great lake there and such a scenic drive and some amazing state parks where we're going to stay next time. They have their own beaches and everything. Until next time.